Hey everyone, it's vmcampos, and guess what I got in the mail? A eBay comic haul. So, there's nothing earth-shattering here. There's no, Amazing Fantasy 15 or anything like that. This is all one big ol' lot of weird random comics. And what is comic collecting but a hobby? And it doesn't always have to be about the big score and all of that. So it's just some random comics I found that someone was selling really cheap, like 50 cents each or something. And I got a bunch of them. Let's check them out. Oh man, that was a freaking challenge. Yeah, they packed it really nice, but that tape was the worst thing I've ever seen. Okay, well, you've already seen what this is. So, Crazy Man, number 1. This is Crazy Man, volume 2, number 1. This is from Continuity Comics, a comic book publisher that's long gone in the 80s. So, you are not a person, you are not a number, you are merely an inmate. Well, why did I get this? Check it out. The edge of the book is not a square shape. The whole book is cut as a contour of the main character's face. Therefore, it is not the usual comic size. It's not square. It's cut to the shape of the face. So, pretty interesting comic in the world of comic history. This is a great gimmick cover, and I like those. Next up, Hamster Vice, number 1 from Eternity. All new story and art, first issue. All new story and art. Does that mean that they appeared before? Okay, so Eternity Comics, again, a publisher you haven't heard of before. This is from that sort of aftermath of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, black and white, funny animal book. So I kind of have, these sub-genres of comics that I like to collect. And one of them is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ripoff genre, which flourished in the 80s, black and white era. And this is one right here, so number 1. Ad for Bucky O'Hare, great. And we've got Cyber Rad, also from Continuity Comics, number 1, by Stone Bennett and Corey. Another volume 2, huh? Okay, and of course, gimmick cover right here. This is, their big tagline, The Other Superhero Company. I don't know if that was a great tagline to have, actually, guys. But here's what I bought it for, holograms. Gotta love holograms. This is before the glut of holograms and other gimmick covers in the 90s that ruined the comics industry. Look at that, so realistic and cool. Also, the idea is this is like a computer thing before people really knew what computers were, hence the title Cyber Rad. It's like, let's mix up these keywords that the kids are into, guys. And we get Cyber Rad, Volume 2, number 1, with a badass hologram. Kyle Baker Special Forces, number 3, from Image. Kids, this guy's a phony. And so there's Kyle Barker, war heroine blasting a mouse-like character right in the head. Very violent. I like Kyle Baker's art, so much so that I just called him Kyle Barker a moment ago, just because I'm thinking of the classic Carl Barks, Disney artist. Anyway, Kyle Baker, and this was a short-lived series and about war and stuff. And there's that damn tape again. Critters, number 32. So this is an early classic furry anthology from Fantagraphics. Wilbur 88 is how it's signed. Very awkward pose by the edge of a cliff. Yeah, it's an anthology with 3 or 4 furry tales per issue. It went on for about 50 issues from around, 82 to 89 or something. Trying to get a set of those. Yes, The Blood Sword, number 7, by Jademan Comics. Now, growing up and getting my first comics in the late 80s, I somehow got the Blood Sword number, I don't know, 9 or something, and another one, I think it was called Oriental Heroes from Jademan Comics. And this is like the most epic, over-the-top Chinese comic book out there. Johnny Wong present a Johnny Wong presentation, and it's just so beautifully drawn and epic. And I guess there's Tong Wong right there, Tony Wong right there. How we produce our comics, etc. But yeah, amazing art, freaking over the top story. There's Dracula in this book, and got another issue here. Buck Godot, Zap Gun for Hire, number 5. This great Phil Foglio series, Folio, by Paliard Press, 1995. So I love Phil's style. I know it most from the early Magic the Gathering cards, the artwork there. And he, along with his wife Kaja, host the yearly San Diego Comic-Con Masquerade. And I'd seen this book throughout the years, and I never got an issue, and here was a chance, so I got it. I also know him from his Xenophile erotic anthology. And front and back covers exactly the same, but virgin art in the back and a regular cover on the front. Moon Knight number 6. Not particularly valuable, but amazing cover. I got it for that. I believe that's a Bill Sienkiewicz cover. He was working on Moon Knight at this time. For example, Moon Knight Special. I've got number 1 and 2 of that. And here's like the ongoing series, I guess, 1983. Just beautiful snowy cover with the fist of Khonshu himself right there. Beautiful. Direct edition. Adventurers. This is from Adventure Publications. This is 1986. Peter Sue. I've gotten a few of these on and off here and there. It's just a classic, independently published swords and sorcery hero adventure book. Adventurers. Great covers. And also very detailed interiors. Peter M. Hughes Quadrant, same Peter that worked on Adventurers, number 8, a Quadrant publication. So another Swords and Sorceries tale. In this issue, the Hellraiser saga concludes. Also Thierry Labrosse's Trip Time, adults only. So great cover. I think her anatomy's a little odd, but I'm more distracted by this evil creature in the back. Classic font. I think more of that like in the 70s, but this is from sometime in the 80s. Is there a date on that? Probably, 88 or something, 86. Wildlife, an early Antarctic Press publication, May 93. So, classic furry anthology book. There's about 12 issues of this, I believe. And who did this cover? I don't quite recognize the artist, but that's another one of my sub-genres that I like to collect. Classic early furry comics. Mardi Gras is going on, I suppose. Kind of looks like Cutie Bunny a bit with those dreads. Is this a Joshua Quagmire cover? Possibly. Here's Wildlife 11. And let's see again, yes, adults only, although it says humor. I guess this series wasn't adults only, it's listed as humor. I think you have some other ones. 10th anniversary of Antarctic Press. How's about this European import? I think the rest is still in customs. Yowza. Pre-season Valentine's swimsuit sale, all imported designs original. Pretty striking pink cover there on right on the cover. Another very striking cover. So Somerset Holmes by Pacific Comics. This is number 2. Pacific Comics was published right here in my good old hometown of San Diego. There's 1988 on that. Really interesting book. I think there were about 6 or 10 issues or so, maybe 12. Very cinematic book, like a neo-film noir style. Beautiful painted covers and great black and white interiors. Just look at the sense of cinema in that cover alone. Basically, it's about amnesia and murder and all this great stuff. Ooh, yeah, creepy number 7. So this is from the relatively recent relaunch by Dark Horse. Creepy has been around since the 60s and went on for a few hundred issues. And Dark Horse relaunched them a few years ago. And I think this is published quarterly because I hardly see any of these issues on the newsstands, or in the comic shops, that is. And I got the first 4 issues or so and then kind of dropped off and then started again in issue like 15, which is like 2 years later. And I want to go back and fill in some of the books that I missed. But again, how can you go wrong with this beautiful evil art? Look at that. And then Death herself. And lastly, this was a pretty cool find. So all of these books were probably about 50 cents or something. This is a cool find. I've been trying to get this book pretty much because of a Charles Vess. I think this is, from what I understand, Charles Vess's first work on Spider-Man. This is Amazing Spider-Man 277. I started reading Spider-Man in number 292, I believe, just a little while later. This is 1986. I started in 87. 75 cents. Special issue, The Mystery of the Hobgoblin deepens. Guest starring Daredevil, the Man Without Fear, in a shocking confrontation with the Kingpin. Plus special feature, Charles Vess's Cry of the Wendigo. So I wanted to get this Vess story because he did, of course, that amazing Web of Spider-Man number 1, which I have got a couple of those, and he's just a great artist, mixing sort of fantasy elements with superhero elements. So there it is, just a bunch of eclectic comics with no real rhyme or reason. Just wanted to get some things, and what do you see here? What's interesting? What do you like? Do you ever get books just randomly for the fun of it when they're cheap? Leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe for more comic videos. This has been VM Campos. See you at the comic shop.